Hello, my dear students. It is after a long gap we are meeting again, not in the classroom but in a digital classroom frame because of the COVID that took away a lot of time, and our life is going to be in a different phase. There will be a lot of changes happening throughout the world because of this pandemic. So we also have to switch over into different new interfaces to accomplish our academic activities and learning practices, because examinations are fast coming and we are not allowed to sit close by and to initiate our learning process. So I decided to offer you the course in a new electronic and digital platform using a stylus software, and it is mostly supported by Professor G. Santosh Kumar, Professor and Director C.A. Ram and the Department of Computer Science. I like to start our sessions on our paper or the course Fluid Mechanics. Once again, I am making some review of what I have taught you in the last class, and let us start with the laminar flow session, and first with Newton's law of viscosity. So in the last class I have mentioned about what is Newton's law of viscosity, how viscous forces are designated, its importance in environmental systems for the study of liquid as well as the solvents when they are handled in water and wastewater treatment plants, how it behaves in natural environment. So first we have to classify the fluids according to their fluidity. So the fluids are classified into two types, laminar flow and laminar flow or steady state flow or turbulent flow. Whenever we are classifying a flow into different characteristics, the prominent law that controls the nature of a fluid is Newton's law of viscosity. Consider a fluid, water or air, contained between two large parallel plates of area A and separated by a very small distance, otherwise we say the thickness y. Don't afraid of that. In our daily routine activities, water is drawn through the pipes or the hoses, water continuously flowing through these systems. In that systems, the containment is made in a circular pipeline or a square shaped pipe or in a square or circular shaped vessel. Similarly, for generalization, we are saying that a fluid is contained between two large parallel plates of area. When a geometrical system is assumed, it will be having a length and a width. Similarly, we are assuming to verify the significance of this Newtonian behavior, a fluid is contained between two plates, the upper layer and the lower layer confined between two geometrical forms. So y is the thickness of the fluid, and horizontal axis is designated as the length of the conduit or the pipe. Here it is designated as a plate. So the thickness of the fluid column is taken as y, and it can move in a longitudinal axis. So when the fluid is maintained at a rest, that is when the T is less than 0, that means the fluid is totally at rest, because suppose we are going to a wash basin and we are about to open the tap. That means the water is not at all coming out of the tap, it is just before opening the tap, that is T is less than 0, fluid initially at rest. So within the tap there will be a pipeline, the whole thickness of the pipeline, the water is filled, so that the thickness of the fluid within the pipeline is taken as y. So I am integrating and interconnecting what is actually theoretically explained by Newtonian fluid behavior in Newton's law of viscosity, and actually a person has to experience in natural day-to-day activities. So this is the column of the fluid contained in the pipe, and this is the length of the pipeline, or just in the beginning or the terminal position of the tap. Then we are about to start and open the pipe. Then that is, the fluid is under very pressure, it is contained within the pipe. So T is about to 0. Lower plate, when we open the tap, the lower plate, the water will flow from the lowest part of the tap, the tip of the tap, that is lower plate is set in motion. That means within the pipeline, the water, when it is blocked there, then water starts to flow out, that is V. V, water continuously flowing out of the tap. So the lower plate set in motion, a fluid or water, any fluid moves in the form of a layers, because a fluid means a stack of layers, they are arranged one after one, so the layers can slide one over another one. Always the lowest layer moves fast, that is, the lowest layer flows out, so T is equal to 0. When we are slowly opened, when the T, the small time is maintained, at the beginning of the time, velocity, the fluid continuously move out, and with a steady flow, it continuously going out. To a bucket, we can collect in a bucket at a faster and steady flow regime. So velocity build up in steady state flow. Velocity build up in steady state flow. So when we are holding for a long period of time, the lower plate that is coming out of the pipeline or the plate, it moves. Similarly, the upper layers also moving along the horizontal axis. Then till the end of the top portion of the fluid is coming out. There is a drag force is there, because the lowest plate moving with a velocity Vx is the velocity of the flow of the lowest plate along the x-axis. It draws the upper layer along with that, then it again draws the another upper layer with a velocity, but the velocity is little bit less. And similarly, the velocity build up can be seen, that is moving along the thickness of the fluid. Finally, final velocity distribution occurs in the steady flow. So continuously the fluid is moving out under a continuous momentum. Whatever a thing has to move, energy is required. Energy is nothing in the form of force. Force is mass into acceleration. That means the force is built up. When changing force is there, then the momentum is there. So the pushing of the fluid column continuously occurs from the pipeline and getting out of the tap in a real situation. So why and how this momentum is built up, how this momentum is transported along the thickness of the fluid, and that momentum naturally gained by the fluid layers pushes continuously the fluid to get a continuous and steady flow of the fluid. So Newton observed that momentum is nothing but it is naturally maintained viscous force, because the lowest layer of the fluid is under severe stress by the mass of the upper layers. So there is a build-up of a force of the upper layers of the fluid is exerted on the lower layers. So force acting per unit area of the layer is equal to velocity of flow, that is V, because the fluid is moving along the x-axis. Velocity of the flow divided by thickness of the fluid, that is force acting per unit area is proportional to the velocity decrease in the distance y, because here the velocity, when the fluid is continuously moving along the x-axis, the velocity is transferred in the form of a drag force along the thickness, that is velocity is decreased, because here velocity V is divided by the thickness of the fluid y. So V by y is equal to a decrease function, that is force per unit area is proportional to the velocity decrease along the distance or thickness of the fluid y. F by A is equal to minus mu v by y. Here minus I have missed, now it is placed because it is a negative factor. It is going, the velocity is decreased along the thickness of the fluid. So it is, that is F by A is equal to minus mu v by y. But it is known that F by A is otherwise known as the shearing stress, because stress exerted by a column of the fluid over the lowest layer of the fluid, that is F by A. It is otherwise known as tau yx. Why it is yx? Because this shearing stress occurs, the shearing stress occurs along the thickness of the fluid, that is y. As a result, the fluid is pushed along the x-axis, that is tau yx, is the shear stress exerted in the x direction on a fluid surface of constant thickness y. It is designated as tau yx, and the x component of the fluid velocity vector is designated as vx, that is tau yx. Instead of F by A, for a small volume element of the fluid we can write tau yx is equal to minus mu dvx by dy, because when we are concerned about the momentum flux generated and lowest layer of the fluid, then we can written as dou yx is equal to minus mu dvx by dy. That means force per unit area is proportional to the velocity decrease in the distance y of the fluid column. The constant of proportionality in this relationship perceived by Newton in his famous Newtonian law, the constant of proportionality mu is called viscosity of the fluid. It is otherwise known as viscosity of the fluid. Based upon this experimental observation, Newton's law states that the shear force per unit area is proportional to the negative of the local velocity gradient. Why it is negative? Because velocity decreases along the thickness of the fluid. That is why it is negative. That is v by y. V by y means velocity divided by thickness. For when the y value is big, if y, the thickness of the fluid is big, velocity will be small. So velocity decreases according to the thickness of the fluid. So the shear force per unit area F by A or tau yx is proportional to the negative of the local velocity gradient, is known as Newton's law of viscosity. And the fluid of this type are known as Newtonian fluid. Any fluid that follows this principle, if the velocity decreases along the thickness of the fluid and it is related to the shearing stress of the fluid column exerted on the lower layers of the fluid, then those fluids are known as Newtonian fluid. What is flux? Flux is the rate of flow per unit area, that is F by A, force acting per unit area. So momentum flux has unit of momentum per unit area per unit time, because how much momentum is exerted by a volume of the fluid per unit area per unit time in its column is defined as momentum flux. Then we can go to the units of viscosity. You know, F is the force. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration. In SI system, mass kilogram, acceleration is meter per second square. Area, of course, it is L square, length into length. L square is equal to meter square. V is the velocity of flow, that is L per second, that is meter per second. Then thickness of the fluid, the length of the fluid column, it is meter. So force can be taken as kilogram meter second square. It is otherwise known as Newton. in CJ system, instead of kilogram, gram, centimeter, second square. It is defined as dynes. So F by A is equal to Newton by meter square. Tau Yx is equal to F by A is equal to, in SI system, dyne per centimeter square. Newton, instead Newton, here dynes, meter square, here it becomes centimeter square. That is dyne centimeter, dynes per centimeter square, dyne cm raised to minus 2. That is velocity, velocity is centimeter per second in CJ system. That means y is the thickness, it is centimeter in CJ system. That means tau Yx is equal to F by A is equal to minus mu dVx by dy. No doubt, it is clear. The equation, the first equation again written in for a small volume element of the fluid. So tau Ix is equal to minus mu dVx by dy. Again, tau Yx, it is cross multiplied, that is, it is cross multiplied, dy by dVx is equal to minus mu. Again, minus mu is equal to, I have written once again for more clarity, then tau Yx into dy by dVx. Again, I changed the position of minus, both sides are multiplied by minus 1, so that here minus mu becomes positive mu, the RHS also become minus. Mu is equal to minus tau Yx, then dVx by dy. Because here dV, dy by dVx, I have written instead, it is made into reciprocal dVx by dy, so that raised to minus 1 comes for the bracket term. Then again mu is equal to the viscosity, mu is equal to tau, instead of tau Yx I have written, that is F by A is equal to dVx by dy raised to minus 1. That is equal to F, instead of force, gram centimeter second square, area centimeter square, velocity centimeter second divided by centimeter raised to minus 1. That means gram, we can the first term, that is gram centimeter minus second square, centimeter is here, so this centimeter get cancelled, then second square is maintained. The lower denominator centimeter comes to the numerator as cm raised to minus 1. Second raised to minus 2 is retained, so gram cm raised to minus 1, second raised to minus 2. This term is modified, that is cm second raised to minus 1, then second raised to minus 1, again minus 1. So gram centimeter, the second square, second raised to minus 2, this second raised to minus 1 is cancelled. So 1 second raised to minus 1 is retained. Then centimeter and centimeter, this centimeter, centimeter raised to minus 1 is maintained. So it is equal to gram centimeter raised to minus 1, second raised to minus 1. So gram centimeter raised to minus 1, second raised to minus 1 is otherwise known as poise. So the unit of viscosity is poise in CJ system. 1 poise is equal to 1 gram centimeter raised to minus 1, second raised to minus 1. Another unit in which viscosity is usually expressed is centipoise. If the position of the poise is taken as meter, then centipoise maintain the position of a centimeter. So 1 centipoise is equal to 0.01 poise. Come to the conversion of the unit into the SI system. Again, instead F by A, force acting per unit area, then force is equal to Newton kilogram meter second raised to minus 2 into area meter square, again cm centimeter velocity, unit of the velocity centimeter second raised to minus 1 divided by centimeter. Then we made as a reciprocal, so it is minus 1, then Newton divided by meter square into second raised to minus 1. When we cancel the centimeter, we will get second raised to minus 1 into minus 1. So Newton divided by meter square into the second one, second raised to minus 1 into minus 1 is equal to second. So Newton divided by meter square, newtons per meter square is defined as Pascal. So Pascal, instead of this term we can substitute as Pascal second. So mu is equal to Pascal second. In SI system, the unit of viscosity is Pascal, that is mu is equal to Pascal second. Viscosity is equal to Pascal second in SI system. So this is regarding about the viscosity, and can go back again. The unit of viscosities in both the systems are explained. Then momentum flux is explained. Then the conversions are explained. Then we can define what is kinematic viscosity. When the viscosity of a fluid is divided by its density, mass density, the properties of fluids are well depend upon the viscosity, then density of the fluid, the volume of the fluid, mass flow of the fluid, volume flow of the fluid. So the scientist, for simplification and for various calculations in engineering applications, the viscosity is expressed in another form. When the viscosity is divided by the density of the fluid, we will get another parameter, another fundamental property to be discussed, defined in fluid mechanics. It is known as kinematic viscosity. That is viscosity, kinematic viscosity nu is equal to viscosity of the fluid divided by density. So mu divided by density, in CJ system, mu is equal to viscosity is equal to gram per centimeter per second. The unit of density is equal to mass, density is equal to mass per unit volume. Mass per unit volume, that means gram per centimeter cube. It can be written as gram cm raised to minus 3, that means centimeter square second raised to minus 1. So this is regarding the kinematic viscosity of the fluid. Once again, we can go back to the discussion part. What are fluids? What are the different type of flow systems? What is Newton's law of viscosity? How the fluid characteristics between a parallel plate is maintained. Then the definition for Newton's law of viscosity. Then what is flux, what is momentum flux, momentum, the units of viscosity. Then Pascal second, then what is poise, what is centipoise. So these fundamental things regarding the Newton's law of viscosity is over. Then I have mentioned that existence of fluid is identified by earlier scientists. They categorized, there are two types of flows. They are laminar flow, otherwise known as time independent flow systems, and the second one is turbulent flow, that is time dependent flow systems. The first attempt had been made by Osborne Reynolds in the year 1883. He identified that existence of a transitional flow occurs among the fluid systems, because one flow can change into another flow based on a characteristic number. Existence of a flow transition is possible from one type to another, because a steady state flow can becomes a turbulent flow based upon the geometrical features of the flow systems decided by the behavior of the fluid, velocity of flow, and the diameter of the pipe. And Reynolds, based upon his famous dye test, because when a dye is applied to a laminar or steady state flow system, the dye move through the pipeline as a thread-like appearance along the central axis if the velocity of flow is within a limit. If the velocity of flow is little bit high, the movement of a dye along the central axis that maintain a thread-like appearance becomes a staggered conditions. So between these two features, how a fluid can be characterized? This was first proposed by Reynolds, and he identified that the ratio between the density of the fluid, average velocity of flow of the fluid, and the diameter of the pipeline or the conduit or the flow geometrical shape through which the flow is maintained, divided by viscosity of the fluid, will get you a constant. That constant has a particular influence in deciding the characteristics of the flow systems. And he named the constant after his name. So the constant is known as Reynolds number. Re is equal to Reynolds number. Re is equal to rho V bar D divided by mu. Rho is the density of the fluid. V bar is the average velocity of flow. D is the diameter of the pipeline. Mu is the viscosity of the fluid. And it is observed that if the Reynolds number is less than 2000, the flow will be a steady state flow. It will be a laminar flow. It will follow the Newtonian principle. So it is otherwise known as a Newtonian flow systems. If it is greater than 2000, the laminar flow becomes turbulent flow. There will be some disturbance of the normal flow of the fluid along the central axis. That is the case, that type of flows are known as turbulent flow systems. So the transition between the laminar flow, that is steady state flow, and unsteady state flow, steady flow and turbulent flow occurs in between these values. So if the Reynolds number is near to 2000, this transition occurs. This is one of the most important propositions proposed by Reynolds. So Reynolds number is very important, because once Reynolds number is known, we can characterize the nature of flow. Once Reynolds number is known, we can calculate the density of the fluid. Once it is known, we can calculate average flow of the fluid. The diameter of the pipeline can be determined. The thickness of the piping material can be calculated. Of course, the dynamic viscosity of the fluid can be determined. So in most of the engineering calculations in environmental systems, as well as for measuring the flow regime, annual flow of riverine systems, rivulets, pipe flow systems, this kind of calculations are very important. So this is something regarding the fundamentals of the fluid mechanics and Newton's law of viscosity and the nature of viscous fluids, a Reynolds number, as well as kinematics viscosity. Thank you.